Well, hello and welcome to this live here at ThePrint. I'm Rohini Swami and I'm live from Bangalore. Here today we'll be talking about, and also you can post your questions. Do remember to send in your questions to us about whether the BJP can provide a stable government in Karnataka. Now, the H.D. Kumaraswamy government has already could not prove the majority on the floor of the House. Kumaraswamy lost his vote of confidence, and so now the BJP have stepped in and they have their numbers on their side. They have 105 MLAs on their side, and they're hopeful of forming the government in Karnataka. And why I say hopeful is because B.S. Yediyurappa, who is the BJP state chief, and also the man behind the building of the BJP, especially in Karnataka, has decided that he will stake claim to form the government here in Karnataka. But at the same time, the BJP is taking steps slowly. Now, I'll explain it to you why they're doing so. Number one, the BJP will stake claim because as of now they have the numbers with them, but they're awaiting a call from the governor of Karnataka, that is Vajubhai Wala, because he has to invite the single largest party to come and form the government. Now, that is yet to be done. But at the same time, through the 18 days of the political drama that we saw in the Karnataka Assembly, there have been a lot of petitions that are pending in the Supreme Court. Number two, also another thing that we also know is the disqualification also of the rebel MLAs is in front of the speaker. So that also needs to be basically addressed, and that is why the BJP right now is carefully planning their entire strategy. Kalan Gore says, do you see that going forward the BJP leadership may induct dozens of Congress and JDS MLAs? Well, that seems to be one of the strategy that the BJP could adopt, because right now they are on a wafer thin majority. If the halfway mark is 103 and the BJP have 105. Now we should remember that this entire floor test took place on on a reduced majority. That was the House. The strength of the House was only 205, and so clearly at this time the BJP also hoping and wanting to that they would like to have a clear majority rather than a wafer thin one like this. So the BJP, though they are hopeful of providing a stable government, the questions that will be raised is, number one, whether not only will the BJP look at poaching people from the JDS and the Congress, but they could also be reverse poaching that the Congress could possibly do. The Congress and JDS also could try and either woo back the rebel MLAs, or they could also look at trying to see if they could poach a few BJP MLAs to come to their side. It's just a matter of 6 votes or 6 MLAs that Kumaraswamy lost, and that is why it is important, why the BJP feels that they will need to try and get a clear majority of at least 5 to 10 more MLAs. Now that number depends on the rebel MLAs too. Now there's a problem within that too, because not only is the entire not only has the set of 15 rebels who have been holed up in Mumbai ever since this entire episode and the political drama we saw in Karnataka. If they get disqualified by the speaker, they will have to go back to their constituencies and contest again. Now maybe possibly on the BJP ticket, and whether they would be able to win, and how many of those 15 MLAs will be able to win their seats back after the people of Karnataka have seen the entire drama, especially of resort politics that has worked out. On the other hand, they also needs to understand as to how the speaker who will take a decision on the disqualification, whether if he accepts the resignations, then these MLAs whose resignations have been accepted and who have not been disqualified by the parties, they will switch over to the BJP, and then the BJP can add those numbers to themselves. So that is how the whole the whole formula will work out. But largely it could also mean that the BJP will try and see if they can lure a lot more MLAs to them. Now, as soon as the floor test took place, the Congress and the JDS both took to social media and Twitter saying that the BJP has muscle power and money, and that is how they have tried to woo people towards themselves, and they will continue to do so. The BJP, the Congress and the JDS are trying to keep their flock together, though they have initially tried that by keeping them in resorts, but that cannot be a solution throughout. They will also have to do a lot of introspection within their party to see that. Now, why is the Supreme Court allowing this horse trading, and why is the media silent about this? Is a question that is being raised. Now, well, how politics is all about, and like, let me raise this question about the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court very clearly has its clarity on the anti-defection law, and that is why the ruling of the Supreme Court, especially on the petitions that have been filed by the Congress and the JDS on the disqualification of the MLAs, is important. Now they have raised, that is the Congress and JDS have raised a question where the Supreme Court had initially in its order said that the rebels have the right, if they want, to attend this trust vote or not, but also said the speaker cannot be fettered down, the speaker cannot be controlled. Now they felt that the political parties felt that the whip that they had issued to ensure that these rebels came and vote now was diluted by the order of the Supreme Court, and they have sought clarification from that. The Supreme Court has not heard this case yet, but any decision on this, whether the power of the whip has been diluted or not, will also determine the future of these rebel MLAs. Because if the Supreme Court stands by its order, that means the whip was not applicable to these MLAs and they will not get disqualified, and possibly they will clearly look at crossing over to the BJP. Many of these MLAs are clearly very upset, not only with the Kumaraswamy governance, but also with what is happening within the Congress party itself. And that is why, if you saw, that they have taken a firm stand that they will not return to Bangalore until there is a certain amount of stability in Karnataka. This silence also baffles me totally. What's happening? The silence from, if you can just clarify as to who you are talking about the silence from. At the same time, let me also take another question: is why is the media silent? Well, the media is definitely not silent, and here you are tuned in to The Print, and here we're raising questions, we report about it, and as well as we have enough discussions like the YouTube lives that we have. So please do remember to post in your questions. The questions also should be about what you think what could possibly happen. It can also be a commentary from your side. It can also, like I was requesting, that you could also try and ask a few more details as to what could possibly give you a clearer picture of what is happening in Karnataka. Now, what are the chances of the BJP doing well in Karnataka? Well, if you see the results of 2018, the single majority party was the BJP. They had 103 seats. In the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, we saw that the BJP, and that too under the leadership of B.S. Yediyurappa in Karnataka, won 25 out of the 28 seats. So the BJP right now riding on a high, and the Modi wave also, they feel, will help the BJP control and win a lot more seats. Number one, if they look at by-elections, or number two, if they're contemplating to dissolve the assembly and go for fresh elections. Both ways, the BJP has a win-win situation. But whether they will be able to provide a stable government at this time with this wafer-thin majority is something that is keeping them also on their toes. Arjun Suresh says the BJP don't have a track record of having a stable, consistent government in Karnataka. Can we expect a stable government this time? Well, if you notice that in 2008, Yediyurappa did have it, but the problem that came in terms of inconsistency was also the corruption charges against several of the ministers and also the Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa at that time, causing the government to collapse. We also knew how there was no backing from the BJP leadership when it came to Yediyurappa being named in the illegal mining case, and that is how there were a lot of changes in the political scenario in Karnataka. But at this time, the BJP feels that they are together, and if you notice the way and the mannerism of the BJP in Karnataka, not only when they silently sat through the entire proceedings, because they had just one thing in their mind, and that is that they want to ensure that they can form the government in Karnataka. Number two, that they will continue their target of a Congress Mukt Bharat. So they are at any rate, they would like to go about that. Ola Fernandez, you say, is this politics in my India? Pimps and selling, getting out of shame, and this is the end of ideology. Well, while I'm saying this, it is up to the voters also to decide who is the person who needs to be voted in. If your legislator, your councillor, or your ward member is contributing to you. In the Indian political history, whenever the Congress has supported any other party, they have not been able to complete its full term. Any reasons why? Well, if you look at it, that's not true. because in Karnataka, let me give you an example itself, that Siddharamaya completed a full term of 5 years, and then they went to elections in 2018. We have seen a similar kind of situation also in other states, be it, for example, even the UDF in Kerala, or you've seen it in Goa and other surrounding states also. So that's not true, but every government does seem to have its own way of handling it. Jagdish Shettar did really well, even though he was the CM for a short while. Does the BJP have a choice other than Yediyurappa? And what will happen to the rebel MLAs? Well, Jagdish Shettar as a chief minister was not a chief minister of choice at that time, but he happened to be because of the like I said, the illegal mining case that came and plagued the state at that time. But yes, the BJP does look at other options. But as of now, Yediyurappa is the undisputed leader in Karnataka, and he has proved that not once but several times. And this, especially the falling down of the government of Kumaraswamy and the BJP ensuring that they can form a government itself, is Yediyurappa sending a clear signal to the central leadership, saying that there is nobody else other than him who can lead the BJP. We should also not forget that Yediyurappa was the man who opened the account for the BJP in the southern peninsula, in the southern states. He formed a stable government of 5 years in Karnataka for the BJP, and so it is important that the BJP also takes into account how Yediyurappa has performed and the leadership he has. Another point also is that the Lingayat community, which forms a large part of the population in Karnataka, they do hold Yediyurappa as their tallest leader, and so the voting pattern also will be in such a way that they would want a leader of theirs to be made the chief minister. So there are a lot of other combinations, permutations before you can talk about any other choices. Ajita Bajpai Pandey says, does Congress mean unabashedly play of money power? Well, everybody, if you notice, politically, unabashedly, we have seen the use of money and muscle. But one of the allegations that has been made by the coalition partners is that the BJP have been using that throughout the elections, not just in the states, but all across the country, especially in Madhya Pradesh or in other places, and trying to make it as part of their. Okay, Ajita, if you could please put your question back again, because I'd like to read that question. Thank you. Now, will this have an effect on Goa politics as well, is a question. Yes, it would, because we have seen how things have changed in Goa too, in terms of the way things have turned. You have 10 MLAs who have crossed over to the BJP, leaving the Congress in almost a minority there, and so it has set a precedent for several other states where the BJP has been trying to make inroads. Another place that the BJP has opened its account and would like to continue to try and get. Ayush Jain says, does BJP have a second line of leadership after Yediyurappa? I'll answer that question. But like I was saying, that in places like Telangana, where they've opened their account, in Andhra Pradesh, where they're hopeful of creating inroads, Tamil Nadu is where they're looking at inroads, as well as in places in Kerala. We should also know that Kerala has the highest number of RSS shakas in the country. So clearly, the BJP is trying their best at this point of time to try and see if they can also increase their base in southern India. And if you remember, BL Shankar being brought in as the organizational national secretary itself clearly is a way of trying to. Let me just quickly take Ajita's question. Does Congress Mukh Bharat unabashed play, is it an unabashed play of money? Yes, let me answer that just after I finish. So BL Santosh being made the organization secretary itself clearly shows that the BJP is very serious in their in expanding their work, especially, and their seats in southern India. Now, in terms of the second line for Yediyurappa, yes, there is a necessity for the BJP to also look at those options, because apart from the Lingayat community, there is also the Vokaligas, who also form a larger part of the population. There are a lot of power centers in the BJP also at the same time. Will BSY complete his tenure during this time, asks Divyam Paliwal. Well, that is what the whole effort of Yediyurappa and BJP would be, to try and give a stable government, because they would like to tell their voters that it is only the BJP who can provide for a stable governance. It is only the BJP who can provide them for the kind of SOPs and the kind of good governance that they have been, stable governance that they can give till now. So they will try and hope to provide as much, because this bringing down the Kumaraswamy government was not just what was on top of their head, but also what they would like to do is also try and provide and ensure that the BJP continues for a longer time in southern India. Like I was saying, Karnataka is the gateway for the BJP in southern India, and they will try as much as possible to do it. Um does Congress Mukt mean unabashed play of money power, is what Ajita asked me. Ajita, I'd like to answer this question. Well, that is one thing that is being said time and again, whether the whole effort of making it India Congress Mukt, and that is why they're trying to use money power to buy over MLAs, to buy over as much as possible, is the effort that is being made, and that is still an allegation, because there is still, though there have been enough evidences that have been seen through the media as well as submitted in court, there has been no specific ruling on this. But yes, one thing one needs to also understand is that politics is the power, is a play of power, it's a play of money, it's a play of egos, it's also a play of who wins the race first and who is the survival of the fittest. And while looking at that, we also have to realize that on one day the BJP could possibly be in governance, and tomorrow another party, the regional party, is also trying to make their mark. Ajita says, what about threatening our legacy? Now, if you're looking at the legacy of politics, well, politics has changed. Change is constant, as you all know, and so there is a necessity for a that the political system needs to purge. Now, what you saw in Karnataka on the floor of the assembly, the way the legislators behaved, and the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Nehru is what you're asking. Well, that legacy also is what has been spoken about time and again on the floor of the House, and the legacy of Ambedkar, the legacy of the Constitution of India, how it needs to be converted. Well, I try